Hey, what's going on, guys? Double 18 Seth Shadow here. We finally got there. We finally got there. This week is the week the Chronojet Strike Deckset gets released in English format. And man, I am excited for that. Granted, I don't care as much about Chronojet, but we're going to see some big changes in the overall tournament scene, as well as just we've been talking about on Market Watch so many different things about dark states. I explicitly called out dark states in one of my prior watches simply because this deck has had so much influence on the valuation of so many of the cards that you can play for dark states, particularly a lot of the staples like Brainwash, the effect triggers, and a bunch of other cards like Gunram and so forth, which all basically get used within this deck, which is currently the most popular one in Japan, at least as far as prior formats go. But now with set 9, some things have changed on that front. But ultimately, looking at prices, $250 for the premium set and then $80 for the regular one. You might want to shop around and see if there are any places still selling pre-orders any cheaper. As for the singles, we're looking at $5 on the pre-orders right now. Unless you're only picking up a few of these for collection, I wouldn't recommend picking them up for $5, especially when you consider that the deck itself is comprised of about 59 cards plus some extra bonuses, even just for the base version. But when you need about 30 of the cards in the deck and you're picking them up for about $5 a piece, that already equates to almost double the price of the deck set right now. So either you'll need to wait for these to drop off further, which I'm not too sure how the market's going to react to the actual sale of this once pre-orders lift, especially given that I've completely underestimated Chronojet Dragon himself in terms of his popularity before and undersold it when this deck set first got announced for Japan. I'm not going to go too much into detail about that, but like I said, at the very least, if you are looking to pre-order these at 5s, just go for the deck set instead, because it is overall cheaper and nets you more material. Steam Battler Gunram, one of the cards that you might play in Chronojet, is still up in value and is now $10 for the base listing. And given it's from set 1, 13 listings is not too bad. And then Steam Battler Gunram's SP, we've only got 3 listings left, starting at $19. I mean, effectively, if you don't have Brainwash Swirlers, you play this instead. And there are decks that actually play the pair of them together. Go Ahead Mikani is another option that you can use if you can't pick up Gunrams or Brainwash Swirlers due to their price. Of course, this card was actually more expensive than Gunram last week due to a buyout, mainly due to Messiah reveals. But I can imagine this card will settle between $5 to $8 for a while, given its general utility. And now that Messiah has revealed another card that will do half the job Mikani does, plus be additional shield, we may not see as many uses of Mikani in Messiah as we initially thought. But it is still a generic staple you'll want to watch out for, as it's still just your simple call and soul charge. The thing is that it's optional too. So in decks like Barrow Magnus, where you may risk decking out, if you ever have to call this card, at least you don't have to soul charge. Going through some of the promos that are in flight right now, stuff like Halbei and Broken Toys are still very low on quantities and very high on price, especially because Bushiroad is not doing a good job distributing their promo packs. We're still not getting nearly enough of them in stores, and there are still heavy delays on stores even being able to get them, which is really, really bad. As long as this continues to happen, players are going to be priced out of some of their favorite decks like Tamayura, Overlord, and some other cards that will end up making use of Broken Toys more often because of the stealth aspect. But stuff like Result of the Experiment henceforth which has been around for a while now. We've been seeing more tournament packs of that come through, so we've got way more listings and a bunch more copies at cheaper valuations than what they were before. So it's going to take some time for stuff from the promo packs to really get in on the market. Oath of Vengeance Stegria is basically in the same boat there. And you have to consider stuff like Shelling Cannon Dragon, which was exclusive to a sneak preview, is now $9.03 despite it being a staple in Flagberg. So you have to wait it out in this case, but you will be rewarded if you wait it out. Bobble Mine is still holding pretty well in terms of valuation. It is getting its reprint, but of course, we've already discussed that ratios are not likely to be good. So Bobble Mine is $20 for its base listing. If you want its SP, $100 if you want to pay into that. Goldog Dragon is another card from Set 1. I forgot to cover this card a while back when it was featured in the anime, but it's still really cheap and can promote a 5 attack combo with Ava Galdar, which is the mech series coming in Set 9. You could still pick this up for chump change, but to be fair, that chump change was a bump here from lower than 10 cents to now almost 20 cents. So see if you can find this for a price that you can pay for, what would I say here? Because when you buy on TCG Player lower than $5, you still have to add on a shipping tag to it. So if you're willing to pay the shipping tag for it, that's fine too. Triggers. I haven't talked about triggers as a whole in a while, and I think this is another good point to stop and do that. Front triggers to start off. Alpax SP has gone significantly down from its high point of well over $100, so there are available listings as well, which is a good sign. I want to point out that you really want to look at Empiro and Natalia these days with the flexibility that these decks are that these cards are going to have with several decks that are coming out. Messiah could potentially use Empiro, while Natalia, as I've talked about, as a Diablos, has application in Viamont's Bruce, and of course it's Dark States, so Chronojet has an influence on it. Blaze Maiden Parama and Frenzied Harris, on the other hand, they're trying to really break out in terms of value when you look at their SPs here, but these are probably the least popular amongst the front triggers. And if you look at their lower end copies, you can see 12 listings here, 22 listings here, 10 listings, and 30 listings. These don't move so well. So even though we've got high prices on this part, I can't imagine these selling too well unless there is some really big shift that causes these front triggers to actually be very, very relevant. For Set 3, on the crit triggers, we're seeing more stock coming into play in most cases aside from Brant Gate and Dark States here, so prices have been on the drop. And in terms of just the regular versions, and the set in general, you can see we've got a lot of listings, even for foils like Drilling Angel, which had recently had a buyout. Blade Feather's got 22 listings right now. I feel like this set is overprinted. Even though all the staples in here sell out here and there always seems to be more of this set to get back onto the market every single time, because these triggers never maintain their high values for more than a month. And I think a month is really stretching it sometimes. So, yeah. You can still pick up boxes of this set for about $30, and as you saw before, the cases are $4.50 right now. But the same can't be said for stuff like the draw triggers from Set 4, which I'm pretty sure we don't have any more prints of this set. As a result, we've got low prints all across the board for all of the draw triggers, including Flare Veil Dragon, which has 5 listings. That's still way low. Riley may have the most right now, but its price is still the highest. Lena's still out of stock. And when you look at the rares, oh boy. Yeah, You can look at set 7 for comparison on prices, but they're not much different. Also, yeah, the world origin of the heel trigger is $5 now. Roaming Prison Dragon, also from set 4, has been bought out again. Now it's base $20. Although, it doesn't look like we've seen any sales except for the one at 15 so far. But I mean, this card is starting to see more relevance as we get more deck types. And overall, it's a pretty strong card. Dragonic Overlord the End, I just want to point out here that between the 10th SP and the SP, the values are flipped. This is actually more expensive now on the low end, while you can pick up the 10th SP a little bit cheaper. Mainly just wanted to point that out. You can see that the secret rare is still low on listings, and you still have a fair amount of listings for the Triple R if you're looking to buy that. But with Halbay being the price that it is, I can understand that people don't want to buy into this deck as hard. Skullwitch Nemain, though, has also risen back up in value, as the base Triple R is now above $10, where it used to be from initial release. And the SP is also back up in value in the 40s, which was also around where it was at on initial release. So just a nugget of info there. Night of Rendering Flash Carebrae has been setting itself pretty stable above the $30 mark now, and players are buying into this at 40 plus. So, I mean, it is a generic card, so it's no surprise that something like this is still happening with it, especially since we have Minerva Rising right now, and the card is played in Minerva at this point. Demonic Jewel Dragon Drajewel. I wanted to visit this one again, because between the lower amount of listings that it's gotten these days, I forgot that there was a new promo in Japan that came out that effectively serves as a second copy of Rakagur in the deck. So now you have 8 potential restand targets for this card to go off. The Triple R is now about $18, and the FFR is still in the 50s to start off with. And if you want the DSR, well, that thing's almost $300, so you're going to have to really shop around and get some stuff there. Some other cards from Minerva's Rising to go over. I did cover Rising Dragon a little while back, anticipating that it might go up, and looks like it is starting to get there. We're running out of quantities on this one, and it's now a $9 card. I mean, it's generic for Dark States outside of its second effect, so it has plausibility to just be played generically, which is why I anticipated this sort of increase. Lillian is something I didn't know about, though. The FR is apparently $10 plus right now. I had been hearing things here and there about its value, but didn't realize that the FR would actually get this high. And as for the FFR of Silverthorn Rising, 150 with only one listing, so yeah, that's long gone at this point. And to wrap up today, Blue Storm Dragon Maelstrom for Minerva Rising. Cheap. You're looking at $2 and under. The market price was $3. There are plenty of listings to go around, and the deck itself, outside of Inlet Pulse, shouldn't even be that expensive from what I understand. So if you want to build Maelstrom, it's pretty easy to do so right now outside of Inlet Pulse. FFR is in the 50s, and the secret rare, if you really want the secret rare, it's under $100. So at least it's far easier to access than Lugia or Minerva at this point. Thanks you guys for watching. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.